Oh, there. I'm in the dark. Hang on, I'll go over in the light. There I am. So, welcome back to the grind. It's me, and I've got the Dodge W100, which is a 1989 variety. This week was all about this thing here. That seal, oh, right up here, right in there, rotten there. There's a seal in there, and it was leaking, so this had been bleeding forever. So I thought, I looked at a YouTube channel on from a guy down in New Mexico. I'll put a link somewhere, and he did this job in 2 hours. I did it in 4 days. So there you go. Anyhow, it's not as easy as he made it look, but he had, in New Mexico, there's no rust. So this is new linkage to here. New seal in there. You got to pull that bit out and do blah blah blah. Stick around, you'll see it all. And then up here, new linkage on this. New linkage comes to here, and I accidentally cut one of the brake lines. So there's 2 new brake lines there too. Okay, stick around, see it all. Enjoy it if you can. See you later. Okay, back on the W100. Now, it's been leaking fluid out of that power steering, or the steering box, forever. I've got a, what do I have? This is a new shaft, right? This thing here. Not quite exactly the same as the old one, but it does the same thing. That's the the thing that hooks on here, and this is a seal kit. Seal kit for the thing. You can't see anything in there. Anyway, kit number 8525 from somewhere on Amazon. Okay, get the wheel off and see what we can do. There, you can see more easily now. Got to turn the wheel and find there's a pin, like a roll pin that goes into this thing, and then that'll pop out of there, we hope. Don't know if I have to take off the top part first. Maybe I do. See what happens. Whoops. Yeah, so there's the roll pin thing. I don't know what that is down the middle of it, but hopefully I can pound that out of there. Give it a try. I'll see what I can find to get that out of there now. Yeah, then came the task of getting this off of here, right? That goes like that. Anyway, it was some violence required. And, you know, I watched a YouTube of a guy down in New Mexico taking this apart, and no rust at all. And everything comes apart so nice and easily down there. Now this thing here, can't get that pin out of there, and it's hardened, so it won't come out with a drill. And this is all bad, so it definitely needs to be replaced. In the meantime, while I was at it, I decided I'd cut a hole in one of the brake lines, right down there. So I cut a hole in that, cut that brake line by mistake. You know, not by, but just the zip saw zipped in there while I was cutting off the bolts that used to be holding that. Can you see this down here? Used to be holding this onto the steering bracket thing. Okay. Anyhow, it's done. It's off. And see about getting this part down here out now. Yeah, that's off. More violence required. So I had to just slice that down through there so I could get that pin out of there. And then when the pin came out, it took a lot of hammering, and then I was able to squeeze this in between and hammer it. And yay, it's out. So there's the old thing. Whoa. Guess there wasn't much life left in that, was there? Anyway, it's sort of all together, so you can't, well, it's supposed to hold together. I don't know. I don't think there's any way that that could fail when it's all squeezed together, but not anymore. Now, this next thing is going to take this guard off of here, and then there should be able to turn out a bolt in there. Hopefully it's not seized in. Oh dear. Yeah, I thought that keeper was supposed to be just on there to hold this, but apparently it does the whole thing, tightened up. I think there's something not quite right about that, but I'll take a look at it in the shop. Anyhow, that's apart. And I'll see if I can get the seals and stuff into it in the other shop there. I don't know whether, like that bearing there, I'll check it out. Right in here, I guess it feels all right. Yeah, it'll be fine. I thought there was bird in there, but it's not. Okay, I'll just let that drain away into there. Take this and sort of clean it off. See, this outside piece is supposed to be free of the inside piece. Okay, we'll go in the other shop and see what I can come up with. Okay, now here's, see, this is supposed to come out separately from that, but I guess they come together. This is a dust cover, and then there's a seal, and then there's a snap ring on top of it here. So I'll see if I can get the snap ring out of there and then get the seal out and the dust cover out, and we'll go from there. Okay. Snap ring tool. That came out easy. Now, this should be a dust cover. There we go. That's the dust cover out. Then should be a seal. Not coming very easily. Wonder if I can go to the other side and pound it out. I don't want to. Oh yeah, there. Seal out. It just drops into there. And that bearing set in there looks fine. So I guess we're okay there. It's all pretty dirty on the outside here, but the inside looks pretty good. Brake clean. Now this is supposed to be in a certain amount for pressure for a preload, and I think I'll just tighten it down to where it was before. Should be able to do that. And it's not like that does a lot of moving in there, so I'll see if I can get this O-ring out of here. No trouble. Get a picky thing. On the picky thing there. Here's the picky thing. Okay. Here's my gasket kit. The hardest part of the whole thing is getting it apart. I think this has instructions. Maybe I should have read it a long time ago, eh? Yep. General information. Adjuster plug assembly, loosen ball plug, I don't need to do that. Valve body assembly, pitman shaft, no, okay. Seal. Even comes with a new thing. How do you like that? Anyway, that's good. All right, go there, go there. Don't remember which way that went, upside down or right side up, but that's the way it is. That goes on right there. Then hang on, I got to get some other grease somewhere. Yeah, I got some of this silicone grease stuff, so it's likely the right stuff to put on there. Just put that around the whole thing, right? I got to put some on the inside of it here just to keep that spring from popping out, which would be a good thing to do. And that should go there, like that. I'll get something to drive that in with. The socket would do fine. Which one do you suppose is the right size? That one's they're all too small. Need a 1/2 inch drive. A little bit too small still. That should do. I think that's good. And this pops on here like that way or the other way. I forget. Looks like it's the dirt's on that side, so that side here goes down. So that's the way it goes, right like that. Now watch this go flying across the room, hey? Okay. Yeah, if it turns, then it's in right, so it does turn. Like you can make it move around in there. So that's good. That part's done. Pretty simple once you get it out. But now to get it back into the right spot. And it peeled this whole bit right off of there. Okay, back to the truck. See if we can get it back on there. Whoops, without wrecking it. Just gonna put some WD-40 on the threads here. Maybe it'll thread in a bit easier. Get in there. Now what? Oh yeah, there we go. What have I got going wrong now? There, I got it all together there now, but I think I've got some, got to get some dirt off of it now. Yeah. This goes in and catches a couple of dogs in there. There we go. What have I got going wrong now? I don't know what I've got going wrong. I'll cipher on it for a bit. Yeah, I got something going wrong here because it won't thread in any farther than that. And I can make, I'll show you here, I make the wheels turn, but you see that thing wobbling now. I don't know if it's lined up wrong or something's gone wrong in there. And I made a little tool, this thing here, to grab that end of it there and turn, but it's not a very good tool. Might have to make a better tool. Fit in there. Make that thing turn. But I don't want to over tighten it because I don't think that'd be the right thing to do. Anyhow, I think I'll leave it till tomorrow and come back at it. Yeah, so I'm gonna make myself a tool for to tighten that thing with. The oh, the dog's going nuts. see there's a hole here and a hole here. They're 51 millimeters apart, I think. Yeah, 50, 51. So happens that this is the top of a shock absorber from the TR7, you know, for the struts of the TR7. I put in new struts and this piece is left over. So I'll have that, and then I have where's my I put things down and they disappear here. So this is a 5/16 inch drill, which will just slide right into there and weld it in, and slide right into there and weld it in, and then hopefully that'll sort of sit where it's supposed to be and catch those holes there on that thing. Like that fits in there and that fits in there. This one here is a bit rounded out because it's been abused in the past, but we'll just see. So I'll get another 5/16 inch drill and I'll just weld two of them in, and then cut them off at the just you know, a little bit high there, not too high because that'll make them weaker. Then I'll weld something on the back to make it so I can use a wrench with it. Maybe I'll just get an old socket that I don't need and weld it around so that the end piece comes through okay. That'll be a deep socket. Okay. Yeah, there you go. It doesn't exactly center on it, but it certainly fits the holes. Let me just check this side out. One there and one there. Yeah, that's centered on there now. So there you go. That's the tool made. Now I have to put that, I'll weld a socket on here, but first I'll go back over and finish welding on that. That kind of came out cool. Okay, I'll do some more welding on these things so they're nice and snug. Then I'll do some welding on the bottom here. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, there's the tool made, and it's on a 1/2 inch drive socket. So if I want that socket back, I'll just cut the tool off it and then weld it on again if I need it. But I've got 2 or 3 of these size sockets, so that'll be fine. 3/4 inch. Now it's just tacked in. Well, it's welded in pretty good there, and it's welded in pretty good there. We think that'll hold together. We don't know for sure. If I have to later, I'll put some weld on the inside. We'll just give it a go and see if it'll hold. Maybe I should put some weld on the inside. Think about that. Anyhow, tomorrow. That's enough for today. Yeah, there. Now I've squared off. Don't know if you can see down there, but you see how those holes are pretty deep. They weren't very deep before, but I squared off a bit here, and I just ran that square bit down till it bottomed out and brought all the dirt out of there. There's some of the dirt that was in there. There's some more. Now I'm gonna go with just a what do you call that, a file, and clean out all the threads here and see if this will make it so it go in easier. And I'll show you the hang on, I'll just show you this. I did some work on the tool. I made that, like welded that in there, so it's good and solid. This is just those 3 tack welds around, but I think that's more than enough there. And they sort of, like, I don't know, can you see this? There's the 2 holes there, and that, if I get it in the right place, it'll drop right in. Drops right in and holds tight. So that'll be able to turn that. That's a good tool. If I need to, I can bring it down farther, but I don't think I need to. And it's so tight that you have to sort of wiggle it a bit to get it back out. So that's good. Now I'll clean up all these threads and see if we can get it back on the car. Yeah, there, I've cleaned up all those threads pretty nicely. I did it with the picky thing at the bottom of them, and then I took it on the wire wheel and gave it a wire wheel. So hopefully this will come together now and sit nicely. We'll go and try it out. Okay, let's try this for the umpteenth time. I gotta just put a bit of WD-40 on the threads here. And the camera's gonna fall over. Hey, there, get back there. How's that? I don't know if you're looking in the right spot. Pretty close, right? Okay, so now, put it around the right way. This goes in here like this. Come on, get in there. There we go, starting to turn in. Now we'll try our tool on there. That's on. See if this works at all. No, that's real tight now. Something not right there. Because it shouldn't be that tight. It should be. I'm just turning the wheel back and forth here to make it so that it works that inside there. It turns a little bit every time I do that, but now it's getting real tight. Just want to count these threads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's got to go in another 2 or 3 turns to be right. Wonder what's holding it back there. I just don't know. I'm not going to force it. I already have forced it. Damn. Now I broke that off. Isn't that something? Oh, I guess I got to do some more work on my tool. Yeah, my problem was in this. Now, inside there's a couple of pieces. You have to be really careful how you line them up. And then it's all got to come together. So there's a rubber at the end of here, right in there. And then this thing here is sort of like that, hey? I think that's correct. Hopefully we can get it to go in now. I'll give it a try. Hang on. Okay, now here's all the pieces. Didn't go together there. There's an O-ring there, and an O-ring here that goes on the very bottom of it. This part here has to go onto this shaft. And see that little notch right there? I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, that little notch right there. It has to go through that hole, right? Which one? Down here. There's the hole at the bottom for it, right there. And it has to sit through that hole. Then it goes up inside here, and see that little notch right, the little notch right there. This notch on here has to sit into there, and then that'll allow it to go down far enough. Then these two things hook on the dogs on the other side. Now, I'm not sure whether that spins on there or not. I don't think so. I think that's all sort of one piece. But see, there's a little circle thing there. Maybe that's supposed to catch something. Let me go and look in the other end and see what I can figure out. Yeah, there it's all together again now. And I'll be very careful about how these fit on those dogs in there. We'll just give it a try, see if it goes together. Okay, this is together correctly now. And you see that lip down there, it's got to be 8 millimeters down from the top of the... I've only got two hands, so I can't really show you what I mean. But wait, I'll put this down here. Oh dear me, what a battle. Anyhow, you see inside here, from the inside to there, it's got to be 8 millimeters from that edge. And then at the other end, if you look, you'll see that it's protruding that much. Anyway, see if I can get it in this time, and maybe we'll be happy. Okay, finally got that thing to thread in. I don't have the rest of it hooked into it. There's the rest of it over there, right there. But this was, I took it apart and tried to thread it in. It was binding at the one spot. So what I've done is I put a bunch of anti-seize on the threads. I'm going to just leave that over there overnight, and tomorrow try it again. Might get it together tomorrow. Only a 3-day event, this 2-hour job. Okay, here's the pieces. Now I had that screwed in, and I put a bunch of anti-seize on there, and it seemed to screw into its position fine without everything else on there. This part here, there's inside there's two little things that have to go together, and one of them is there's this piece here in the middle. Wait till I get this O-ring out of here to show you. You can't see anything there without the O-ring anyhow, so I'll leave the O-ring be. Okay, so this part that goes down the center shaft here, which is all connected, there's a little inside thing there. Let me see if I can show you on the diagram, right? There's the diagram. See this? That thing there is this thing here. These Teflon rings go on there. Then on the inside there's this little tiny thing here. This little tiny thing here has to sit on a shaft, on this shaft here, which is part of, oh here we are, better view, this bit here, but that's not the same. It's, oh dear me, not the same. Nothing is the same. Anyway. Oh dear, that's not much of a good explanation. This part here that drops down, there's an inside piece on here. I don't know if you can see it from this side. No, can't. And it has to sit on that shaft, and there's a little protrusion on the shaft that it's like it goes into. There's a hole that it fits into. Then the shaft drops in, and then it's got to drop onto a notch on the inside of this thing here. And then when it's dropped onto the notch, the distance from this wait, I'll get my pointer. What did I do with my pointer? There it is. The distance from this bit right here, which is a flat bit on there, to the top of this has got to be 8 millimeters. Otherwise it's not going to drop into its position right. And then these two things, that part there and that part there, fit onto the dogs on the inside of the steering box. Okay, now this part here, which I was having an awful lot of trouble getting it installed into the the threads were binding on me. So now they seem to be okay, and then this part here should just drop right on there. Oh dear, see that? That's up wrong. Okay, need 2 hands for this bit. I'll show you when I get it. Yeah, there, so it's all together. This is just slightly proud of that there. The oil seal's in there, or the O-ring is in there. I don't know if it's supposed to be or not. And then I'll get it lined up into the machine and see how things work out. I don't know if that's supposed to catch on something. I'll look in there and see. Okay, get it together. Yeah, I don't know what I did for sure to get that thing to finally sit on there in the right spot, but that seems to be where it's supposed to be. Might be able to just tighten it another half a turn. Not really sure, don't remember. Anyway, that's pretty close to right, and hopefully that seal isn't ruined or anything in there. Now, what I did was I pushed the steering all the way that way. Then I put the thing in where I thought it should go, like on the dogs. And then I got it turned a couple of turns, then I pulled it back all the way this way, and then it seemed to seat itself and drop in there. Don't know if that's what happened or not, but it's in the right spot now because all the threads are in to where it was when I took it out. I think I have to turn it just a bit more, but not much. I'll just give it a bit more of a turn. Yeah, so there's about 4 threads coming out, 4 before it, and I turned it till it was tight, then I backed it off a tiny bit, just to give it some end play, I think. Then this locking ring goes on, we hope. Locking ring's seen better days. But you certainly don't want to put any Loctite or anything on the on the other part. So I'll see if I can get this locking ring to tighten up. I'll just use a hammer and a chisel and tighten it down, and then that should lock everything in place. Now I guess I'll fix that brake line that I screwed up before anything else happens here. Looks like it's this one right here. Oops. Wish I could keep that to stay on there. Okay, I'll get at it. Yeah, so I've taken the brake lines out of here and here, and I'll just put new ones on there. I might as well get them both done while I'm doing it, because while I'm here, and we'll get them in the right spots. Anyhow, oh, dripping everywhere. Okay, somehow I got to turn you off so it can brake fluid all over you. Yeah, so I think this piece is long enough. Anyhow, this is double flare stuff. Usually I'm doing bubble flare, but this is double flare. I think I'll put the camera up where you can look down at it. Maybe it'll work. Oh, I don't know. Some days. Not looking anywhere near it. Yeah, there it is. So this machine here is pretty good for doing this kind of stuff. First, put your fitting on here, right? 3/8 24 this is. Then just like that's got to be straightened a bit. Okay, about like that. Leave it hanging out a bit. And this goes on here like that. This will flatten it out once you get it in there. Then this operation 0 is just flat, and it pushes that. Everything gets pushed that way. Then tighten this down so it's going to hold on to the pipe. Put this to 3/16 operation 1, and that gives it sort of a bubble flare, but not really. And then 3/16 operation 2 takes that bubble flare and turns it into a double flare. And pull it all apart. There's a nice double flare. Okay, now the other end is, so this goes up to the top, right? Then it needs to have a circle thing at the bottom here. So I'll just do, well, I'll put the end on and then I'll circle it around. That way I don't have to fight with it too bad. So move this back to operation 0. Put that through about there somewhere. So this is 3/16 DIN 45 or 3/16 4.75 45. I think I go on. I think it's supposed to be on DIN. No, on 3/16 this way. Sometimes it's confusing. Don't know that it really makes any big difference. Oops, there. Just hanging out a bit there, and then you push that through. Tighten up your vise. Blow your nose. Tighten this down. Excuse me. Operation 1. Operation 2. That'll do, we hope. See how it looks. Yeah, that's a good double flare. You see that? Anyway, now turn this up like that. Can you see me? Yeah. So this end goes to the top. This end needs a curlicue in it down here. Which I will get, you know, well done on the, when it's on the car. But it sort of be like, kind of sort of like that. But that'll get stretched out a bit because I think it's not quite long enough there. I'll just kind of sort of like that maybe. Okay, now I'll get this on the car. Okay, new brake lines are on down here. And I got this thing in my hand to go up here. So it goes, now what I've done is, this is slightly different than the original equipment, but I've took these two out here and put thread locker on them because they lock that in place. And then I've got thread locker on there when I tighten this down. So you gotta get this on. Wait a minute. Oh dear. What will I do? Okay, hang on. You're looking at the floor. Don't want to be looking at the floor. Want to be looking up here somewhere, eh? Somewhere. Around about there. So, first off, it's got to go up in here, right? That direction. Hopefully that's okay. And hopefully it's the right length and everything. And this goes on here. Like that. I think right there maybe. So I'm going to tighten that in there, and then I might have to, I'll put the top on first, and then, yeah, I'll put the top on up there first before I tighten that down, because I think that would make a better idea, wouldn't it? Put all the stuff up here together, and then tighten that thing down. Hopefully it all comes together okay. Hang on. Yeah, sorry, that bit went on pretty easy. I put there's two like pillar bolts that go through here. I put them on first and tighten them down, and then put the other two on that go on the outside. Like, so this rubber is sort of isolated. It's held on by these two screws, and it's held on by these two screws, and it's got wiggle room in between there, so kind of like a U-joint, rubber joint, rag joint, I guess it's called. Who knows? Anyhow, that's all on there, and it seems to, I'll just, like here I am, turning the wheel all the way that way, right? And then all the way that way. So that seems to be what it's supposed to be, right? Let me go and check the other side. Doesn't seem to turn as far this way as what I thought it would, but wonder why. Wonder what I did wrong. Is it hitting against something? No. Maybe I've got it put together wrong. Oh boy, oh boy. That's a stop right there though. Maybe I've got the worm gear in there in the wrong spot. Oh dear. Well, I'll wait till it's on the ground and then I'll... So that's how far it goes to that side. That's how far it goes to that side. Then it stops at this side. That's about a little bit farther on this side, eh? Yeah, it'll turn sharper to the left than it will to the right. And I don't know, but is that something I did wrong in there with the worm gear business? I don't know. Does that mean it's all going to come apart again? Well, I'll run it for a while and just see. First off, I've got to change that arm there because this thing here is bad. So that means that whole arm's got to come off and I've got to get a new one of them. Oh well, I'll do that. Yeah, there's an easy fix for if I've got it in the wrong spot. Just pull this arm off and move it over a bit this way, right? Move it to the center and then put that on there. That would be the thing to do. Okay, that might be what's wrong with it anyhow. Might not be me. Anyway, okay, I'll just leave it as it be for now, and I'll worry about that another time. But I will worry about this right away because I did order a new center link, it's called. So hopefully I'm going to wait till I get the part, see if it's the right one, then we'll take that apart. Okay, well, that seems to be all together. Now I'll put some power steering fluid in it and will I start it up and see if it actually works? Maybe I will. So I also let the brakes sort of self-bleed down to there, so they should be all right. Should have got the air out of that line. And what'll I do next? Yeah, maybe we'll see if I can get it to get the old truck to start again and put some fluid in the power steering. Now let's see if it starts up. What do we got going on here? Nothing. Got to put it in park. Charging right away. Turns back and forth all right. Oh, maybe it's just coming up against the airlock there somehow. Because I think it's turning all the way now. Yeah, it's turning tight that way. So it must have been just coming up against an airlock. That's about straight there. And that's pretty off there, but I'll change the steering wheel. Oh no, it's not quite straight. That should be straight about there maybe. Yeah, so the steering wheel might be fairly close to right. Peeking there, I can't tell. No, I don't think so. I think we got a happy system again. And it's quiet here, eh? See how long that lasts being quiet. I guess the worst thing will happen is have to put more of that loop in there into the muffler. And then back here I have to do some welding on the muffler. Back there I've got, this is from Vivor and it's a bunch of 2-inch pipe or 2.5, whatever that pipe is. Oh, that's all right. It seems to work. Good news. It was absolutely completely empty of fluid in there. I changed the oil in this, didn't I? I don't remember. I think I did. Don't remember. Okay. Pretty good. And the fuel tank is showing just above a quarter, which just is about empty, which is what I thought it should be. Floor looks pretty good. Perhaps I'll put on the, should I put the seatbelt in? Maybe I'll put the seatbelt in today and then call it a video, because I think this kind of interesting, that one there, eh? Well, anyway, that's enough of that for now. I'll just let it warm up for a minute or two, then I'll shut it off. Yeah, it warmed up, and whatever they call it, the idle came back down to normal, whatever normal is. Yeah, it looks like I put a new filter down there. I should remember these things. Maybe I should mark it on the thing. I'll check the oil and see how it looks. I won't check it now because that fan is right beside there. Take my hand off. Ah, well, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Seatbelt installed, new one. This is just off of Amazon. It's for they advertise it as being for vintage automobiles and UTVs. Well, what the hell, eh? So there, that's hooked onto the original spot back there. There's the original one there, which had the electricity in it, of course. But I could always put the electricity to the other side. Doesn't matter. Anyhow, and here's the old one. Now, the reason I wanted to change the belt is fine, but the previous guys, they just drilled this thing here, must have been rusted away, or they cut it away, or I don't know what happened. Anyway, they drilled a hole in there and put it on with a couple of washers, and I don't think that's quite what I don't think that's safe. Might be fine, but I'd sooner have a new one in there that doesn't look any tougher, but at least it's got the right connections, and this thing here is solid in there with a solid backing. Floor is solid, everything is solid. Okay, that's enough for today. Maybe it's enough. Is it enough for this episode? Because you know what, that 2-hour job up here that took 2-hour job that took 4 days. But I did create some more pain for myself by cutting that brake line. But it doesn't hurt, because those are the only 2 brake lines that I really haven't. Well, I haven't replaced the one that goes right to the back from here. It was one, like, it's reasonably new. A bunch of the brake lines were changed. So anyway, it might come in a different episode. It might get changed. We'll just see. Anyhow, so this thing here seems to be okay. I'm going to wait for that part there to come and see if it's the right part, and then I'll change it. And I have some welding to do in the back. So anyway, but that's enough for today, and likely enough for this episode, because that's sort of just one thing. Not very often I just do one thing, except I did do a bit of work changing the seatbelt. But that's only a little bit there. Well, you didn't see how much time that took. It only looks quick on YouTube. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it all. I watched a guy from New Mexico. I'll try and find it and put a link at the bottom. And he did it, and it just went so fast for him. But for me, it took forever, because, well, we got rust up here. Anyway, see you later. Yeah, so just a little add-on to him here. This is the final version of the tool number LK55, right? Or LK42, whatever it is. Anyhow, special tool for taking that piece off the power steering. This is like 51 millimeters across from point to point, and just, not too deep a hole, just enough to grab those things. That fitting that goes into the top of the power steering pump should not be excessively tight. It should be just tightened in and then backed a bit to give it a little bit of preload, but just not, or a little bit of, not even a little bit of preload, just a bit of room there to slack so that it doesn't bind on each other. So it shouldn't be real tough to get that thing out of there, except in the rust, of course. It is real tough to get it out of there. But anyway, there you go. Done. Yeah, here we are, last week of November 2025. And nice sunny day today, but cold. Frost everywhere. Don't know what's going on. Oh, there's a skiff of ice on the pond. Isn't that something? So I don't think we'll be seeing any more ducks there for a while. I had a dog with me, but I haven't seen him for a while. Wait, oh, there he is. There's a dog. He sort of just wanders at his own speed. And tide's on the way in. All those big storms got a new beach out of it. There's a bunch of the seaweed left over there, but I guess it'll go away eventually. Anyway, well, yeah, that's it for this week. We'll see you later.